In 1944, an Austrian pediatrician named Hans Asperger observed 4 children in his practice who had difficulty integrating socially. Although their intelligence appeared normal, the children lacked nonverbal communication skills, failed to demonstrate empathy with their peers, and were physically awkward. Their speech was either disjointed or overly formal, and their all-absorbing interest in a single topic dominated their conversations. Dr. Asperger called the condition autistic psychopathy, and described it as a personality disorder primarily marked by social isolation. Dr. Asperger's observations, published in German, were not widely known until 1981, when an English doctor named Lorna Wing published a series of case studies of children showing similar symptoms from his case studies. She eventually called it Asperger's syndrome. When did you first find out you had Asperger's?
I think it was when I was entering 4th grade, around like 1999.
I was diagnosed with it in 4th grade.
Because that's when I went to a school, about when I went to a school for like special needs students. It was not a good school.
What is Asperger's syndrome? Asperger's syndrome is an autism spectrum disorder, one of a distinct group of complex neurodevelopment disorders characterized by social impairment, communication difficulties, and restrictive, repetitive, and stereotyped patterns of behavior. It most probably has something to do with how the brain is wired during the embryonic stage of development. Scientists today are still not exactly sure what causes this to happen. How did it affect your childhood?
Let's see. Well, I had a really tough time focusing. I had high anxiety.
Still had friends, but I still felt more like an outcast.
Really high anxiety. I'm talking panic attacks.
Like I got special needs stuff, which I kind of didn't want. I want to be more like a normal person.
I also had bad social skills.
I was kind of lucky. I didn't really have that much of a bully problem. I did have plenty of friends, but yeah, I did get my share of like jerks. But that's just life.
Unlike the severe withdrawal from the rest of the world that is characteristic of autism, children with Asperger's syndrome are isolated because of their poor social skills and narrow interests. How many interests do you have? Many, one, or none at all?
I think I have plenty of interests. Animals,
TV, video games.
like movies,
One of the outdoor activities I still like doing is going swimming.
video games.
And your interest with animals also?
Oh yes, of course. I was just coming to that.
I probably shouldn't say this because some people might make fun of me, but I'm a Disney fan.
Yeah, most people are Disney fans. I'm a Disney fan. I mean, I don't see why anyone would be offended by that, but yeah.
I met plenty of people who hate Disney because they say that it's for kids.
It's not just for kids, it's for...
In fact, I think a lot of those movies are more mature than many R-rated movies I've seen. Have you noticed that?
Unlike Nathan and Daniel, who seem to have many interests in hand, other people with this disorder will gather enormous amounts of factual information about their favorite subject and will talk inconsistently about it, but the conversation may seem like a random collection of facts and statistics with no point or conclusion. They may approach other people, but make normal conversation difficult by eccentric behaviors or by wanting to only talk about their singular interest. This would unfortunately leave the individual outside of the group, for the rest of the group wouldn't want to hear so many facts about one thing all at once.
How to deal with Asperger's?
Well, yeah, like during your childhood and so on afterwards.
Yeah. I kind of went to my own world, really. I just used my imagination. Like, go to my own happy place. Kind of like in Happy Gilmore.
Oh, yeah, Happy Gilmore.
I was prescribed with medication, two medicines. One is called Paxil, it helps with anxiety. The other medicine I have is Strattera, it improves focus. With these medicines, I'm as good as normal.
Oh, well, that's good. With effective treatment, children with AS can learn to overcome their disabilities, but they may still find social situations and personal relationships challenging. Many adults with Asperger syndrome work successfully in mainstream jobs, although they may continue to need encouragement and moral support to maintain an independent life.
Usual routines?
Yeah, like, daily whatever you do.
Whenever I had free time, I mostly just watch TV.
Just get up, eat breakfast, go to school, come home, play, eat supper, go to bed, pretty much.
Yeah, I understand you play video games a lot.
Yep.
When I was very little, I would go outside and play a lot, but ever since I broke my arm in 3rd grade, I've been forced to stay inside. And after I fully recovered, I just decided to stay a couch potato because it seemed to be easier.
Many children with Asperger's are highly active during childhood, but as they grow older, they prefer to be more solitary, keeping to themselves and mostly staying within their own space. Like, for example, their own rooms, where they can do all sorts of things pertaining to their greater interests without any distractions. Do you see the world differently than other people? Meaning, do you see and think about everything differently than anybody else?
I believe so, because whenever I say something that I think makes sense to me, it doesn't make sense to other people.
Well, I don't really know, because I don't really ask them, other people, what they think, because it'd be rude.
Like, whenever they mention somebody mentions something, something comes in my mind, it makes perfect sense to me. When I say it, it's like, what the hell are you talking about?
But I think I do, but not because I have Asperger's, but because I was raised in a Christian environment. They always think differently than everyone else.
Now, what I mean by this question is that certain people with Asperger's can, vision the world in certain ways than others. Like, as for example, for me, who also has Asperger's, sees everything in a way not many other people look at it. Like, well, for example, my ceiling fan, for example. When you guys look at that, you think, oh yeah, it's just a regular ceiling fan. But if you look at the ceiling fan through my visual and musical perspective, it becomes this. See? Actually, I think this might be kind of a ridiculous example, but it's still a good example, right? Back to editing, I guess. They're just Due to their significant uniqueness in society, people diagnosed with Asperger's tend to be made fun of and looked down upon in a negative way through the forms of the mainstream media, like internet and sometimes TV, making cruel jokes and justifications on how they look and act and why they can't fit in well with the general public. Many people with AS are well aware of this and sometimes find it extremely offensive. Here are Nathan and Daniel's thoughts about the subject. In what way do you feel about the general public making fun of people with Asperger's?
I don't like it.
I don't like it at all, especially since, I know that not all Asperger's people are, severe type, like me. The doctor said, even without the medication, I'm still one of the lucky ones. Mine is still unusually mild. I'm still capable of living a normal life. So with people like me in mind, whenever somebody makes fun of Asperger's, I get really offended.
I just have this to say, hey, we didn't choose to have this form of autism.
Whenever I see someone, with severe Asperger's, I'm I can't believe I have that. Considering what I've been through, I bet that guy's got it twice as worse.
How would you like it if you had autism and people made fun of you? Would you like it? Huh?
I bet they wouldn't like that.
That's what I thought.
Bottom line, people have no respect for people with Asperger's.
It's unfortunate in this day and age. Mm-hmm. And the last one, number 9. Do you feel Asperger's has any effect on your life, or have you still gotten the best out of your life so far?
I did make it this far. I did make it to the midterm, in the zoo, so I'm not sure if it had anything to do with Asperger's. I mean, sometimes I think Asperger's might have helped me. Does it use my interests, pay more attention with it?
I think the only real permanent effect the Asperger's has in my life is actually spawns from the one benefit of it. It can give you a very good memory, and since the memories I remember most are bad ones, I could never forgive the people responsible for it.
And there are plenty of famous people who have Asperger's. The creator of Pokemon has Asperger's. It's possible Bill Gates has it. I think Gary Newman has it.
And these are all brilliant people, right? That very imaginative people, right?
Yep, some people even say Thomas Jefferson had it.
Even Thomas Jefferson.
It's possible, but we don't know.
I never knew that. All these people who made great feats in human history all had some mental why is it even called a mental disability if it had the ability to change?
Well, the thing is that it's how you socialize, really. Asperger's, you're very intelligent, but
you can't socialize well with
yeah,
others.
pretty much.
Yeah, that's always the problem with us. It may seem surprising, but many famous and well-known individuals throughout history have been reported to have had some form of Asperger's. It all sort of makes sense in a way, how Beethoven was able to compose masterpieces with such complexity, or how Einstein was able to come up with elaborate equations, eventually creating the famous quantum theory. It seems with every highly intelligent human being, there is always a reason why they were the way they were. Socially awkward, and yet brilliant beyond compare. As for me, I did not know I had this syndrome until about 14 years of age. It seemed to all make sense thinking back to my grade school years of why I acted so differently than everyone else. Today, I think it's probably the reason why I'm very talented with art, video editing, and knowledge and love for animals. I can say, without a doubt, that Asperger's has not stopped me from living my life to the fullest and pursuing my goals for the future. It has indeed made me more of an interesting person, and I'm very thankful for that. Alright, well, thank you for answering the questions.
You're welcome.
Alright, well, thank you for answering these questions.
You're welcome. One more thing.
I'm Batman!